All right, so I have a day job. I don't listen to Felger and Maz, but I think something happened here between you and Felger, something about Alex Smith. I
Yeah.
don't know the background, but please explain to the people who might not listen to sports talk radio, but actually listen to this podcast, and we thank every single one of you for doing that. Please explain to those who listen how Alex Smith came up and what your thoughts are, what your plan is, what you would do.
So basically, I think it was a caller called in. Long story short, Felger asked me, like, how would I feel about Alex Smith for the Patriots? And I said, like, next year as the starter? And he was like, yeah. And I went off. I lost my mind. Like, just, and it's not so much about Alex Smith specifically, even though I don't, look, he's 36, Cam's 31. He'd be coming in. Look, long story short, I was just like, it was more, I saw red from this perspective. If you're talking about Alex Smith somebody like Alex Smith, like somebody, it's the same thing as Cam Newton, Alex Smith, whatever, some older, well-traveled veteran who's
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, much closer to the end than they are to the beginning of their career. Like, I have a big issue with that, because basically, what the F have we been doing this whole past year if we're doing that again? Like, it's more, I'm more angry if I'm just imagining that, like, Alex Smith being the starter next year for the Patriots, and I see red, because it's like, what did we just go through this year for?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to go through this again?
Yeah, you
like,
got to find the quarterback answer. Yeah.
Yes, it would be a further indictment of Belichick doesn't know what the hell he's doing at the quarterback position.
It would be a bridge to a bridge.
Oh, yes, exactly. It would be like Bridge Over the River Kwai, like part 3 and 4. Like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, and so that just incensed me, because I was like, all right, it's one thing that I have to go through this 1 year here, like a second year of this with a new guy in the system, a new guy in the system again. Really, we're going to do this? No, I'm going to go put my head through a window if we have to go through this. I would rather, seriously, depending on what they think internally, and I believe that they still like Cam, and they think that he's more of a victim. I know you think he's been open. I could just tell you internally that what they have at wide receiver and tight end, they think is factoring into what's going on in offense a lot more than a lot of people want to give credit. I'm just telling you.
Right. No, listen, and I agree. I don't want my words to be misconstrued earlier.
Yeah.
What I said earlier was, these guys do get open at times, and, people look at it and say they can't get open. They do get open at times, and they have been open, and Cam has missed them in instances. But again, I don't want anybody to think that I'm telling them that this receiver core is great or the tight ends are good. I'd be dumb to say that. So I don't think they have the weapons that you need to help Cam be better. And I've been saying this for, several weeks now, Greg, and maybe just maybe I feel like people have been picking up on this a little bit. I've heard a little bit of the chatter over the last week or two, but I've been saying for the last month and a half, if not 2 months, here's the plan at quarterback. You ready? You draft a quarterback in the first round if you like one of those guys. There are going to be 5 or 6 quarterbacks in the first round. There's Trask, there's Mac Jones, there's Zach Wilson, there's Trey Lance, there's Justin Fields, there's Trevor Lawrence. You've got 5 or 6 guys that you can pick in the first round. Pick one of those guys, keep Cam, have a quarterback competition. If the rookie outshines Cam, great. There's your future. He's the guy. If not, the quarterback that just got drafted needs a little bit more seasoning, then okay, you roll with Cam again. If you don't do that, that's my option A. If you don't do that, here's my option B. And I've been saying this name for a while now, Matthew Stafford. Matt Patricia has moved on, obviously. Quinn is gone. I think Detroit has to reset and rebuild that entire organization. And the best way to do that is you bring in the new coach with a young quarterback and you build it from the bottom, and you hope 2 or 3 years from then you are a true contending team in the NFC North. They're not going to beat Green Bay anytime soon. They're not even going to beat Minnesota anytime soon. So you start from scratch. I would go after Stafford. Stafford's got 2 years left. He's at just above $20 million in both of those years. Very manageable money. He's still 32 years old. I think he's a top 10 quarterback when he's healthy. Those are my 2 options. I'm either sticking with Cam, drafting a young guy, having a competition, or I'm trying like hell to go out there and get Stafford. I think that's your answer.
I'm completely on board with both tracks, and I'm with you, and that was part of my anger the other day, which was like, look, we're not just going to run this back again. Like, to please tell me that we went through this season, which like is like trying to complete a 20-yard pass is like pulling teeth. And actually, let's go back to the second half of last year, almost the same thing. So we've gone now through like 18, we'll have gone through 24 games, 22 games where the passing offense just completely stinks. And just please tell me we went through this because Belichick has some grand plan that he said, you know what? There's 5 or 6 draftable quarterbacks next year there. And if those guys go someplace, there's going to be Stafford's available, Baker Mayfield's available, Sam Darnold's available. Like, somebody just tell me that there was a plan to go through this year. It was a bridge year. Just don't sell me another bridge next year, because I
agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if and I've been saying it, right? You and I have been talking about this. If we look back at 2020 and say that it was a part of the plan, if you go into the offseason and you make the moves, you find the next quarterback, then everybody will look back at 2020, whether it's 7-9, 9-7, you sneak into the playoffs, you don't, whatever. People will look back and say, okay, it was fine. They reset their books. They got a better draft pick by being at least in the middle of the first round, which might get them a Mac Jones, for example. And they addressed their weaknesses, their needs, and they set the program up for 5 to 6, 7 years of success. If we look back at that and say it about 2020, then it's acceptable. But if we look back at 2020 and it is a bridge to another bridge in 2021, then that's crap. And you know what? I don't believe that. And you know why I don't believe that? Bill Belichick, 68 years old. Dude is not going to continue to coach a team like this. He's just not going to. He wants to win. He probably thinks his legacy is on the line. He knows what people have said about him versus Brady. He doesn't want to go out with 2 or 3 bridge years. And so I look at people in their own situations. And if Belichick is thinking about himself in this case, and he wants to make sure he looks good as he rides off into the sunset, he's not going to bring in Alex Smith. He's going to ride off into the sunset with a young quarterback that looks like a franchise guy with a team that has some pieces that you can believe in going forward the next 4 or 5 years. I think that's what Belichick wants to do. I don't think he wants to leave a mound of crap in the locker room in New England.